Jai Shri Ram. Esoterica of Sanatana Dharma. Okay, this is the first one. Mahabharata Vanaparva 207. Ranti Deva is mentioned, and it is said that he used to perform lot of yajnas where a huge number of cows used to be slaughtered and guests were fed. This is the ultimate kind of lie and distortion and interpolation, prakshiptam. Interpolation means foreign matter, text that has been introduced into a book. Now, Rantideva is a great Krishna Bhakta. He is in fact an Amsha of Krishna. Never consumed meat. Anushasana Parva 115 clearly says that Rantideva never ate any meat. And now these rascals, they have introduced this, and it is being printed by many publishing houses without giving any serious thought. They should redact everything. Redaction means editing and removing all the objectionable stuff, bowdlerizing, expurgating, all this nonsense. So just imagine, it is said that every day 2000 cows were killed and people were fed. Now who would have eaten cow meat in those days? Hindus would not have eaten. So this is a lie, blatant lie, shameless, flagrant, egregious lie, outstandingly bad lie. Egregious means outstandingly bad. Remember, my purpose is twofold. I am teaching you English vocabulary and also rebooting Hindu society. You who is listening with patience should become one day a great leader of men. In fact, a leader of humanity. Because the other religions are dangerous. They will lead you to hell. That is a fact. I won't name them because if I do, then somebody might drag me to a court. So it is sufficient for us to understand. All other religions will lead you to hell, and the daughter religions of Hinduism will make sure that you will be still trapped in samsara. Only Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma, Vedas and Bhagavad Gita. So if there is any distortion or some kind of an evil practice, that is not sanctioned by Gita. Not sanctioned by Vedas. Get this very clear. There is no caste in Hinduism. In Hinduism, we have Jati, Kula, Varna, and Jati, Kula, Varna, and Gotram. Jati, Kula, Varna, Gotram. All are scientific. I have explained this earlier. So now let us talk about Ranti Deva. Now, if it is 2000 cows every day, in 1 month, how many cows should be slaughtered? 60,000. And in 1 year, 7,20,000. Isn't it? Huh? If 7,20,000 cows are being slaughtered every year, and Rantideva is a king for God knows how many years, if you check up, he must have lived for thousands of years. So you mean to say crores and crores of cows were being killed and people were being fed, and how much blood would have flowed? What kind of rubbish is this? This is called prakshiptam, interpolation. You will find if you read with concentration, and you will realize that all this nonsense, not only, even in Bhagavad Gita there are some slokas which are prakshipta, interpolated. That I will discuss differently. Now, in the Mahabharata, same Mahabharata, Shanti Parvam 262.47, one who kills a cow or a bull is a great papi, mahapatakam. And so Rantideva, and Vedas are saying Antakaya go ghatam, Antakaya go ghatam. One who kills a cow should be put to death. Pashun Pahi. 6.28 Rigveda, the whole Suktam is a eulogy of the cow. Glorification, hymn on the cow, Gau Mata. So, Stota me gosakhasyat, Vedam says, Vedam in Veda, Brahman, Lord, Supreme, Impersonal says, which is Krishna. Stota me gosakhasyat, my devotee becomes a friend of cows. Now, how can anything which is contradicting Vedas or Gita is interpolation, is foreign. It is to be discarded, thrown away. So publishing houses like Gita Press and other publishers, Motilal Banarsi Das, they must constitute a proper editorial board consisting of scholars and mainly, if not scholars, devotees, bhaktas and sants who can intuit and tell you. In dhyana they can unlock the mystery of many shlokas. See, you have to understand that many shlokas have to be unlocked in meditation. And once you see jnana is conferred on you by Sri Krishna, and your intuition will tell you instinctively, intuitively, instantly, it will tell you what is right and what is wrong. So that is also sufficient. A true bhakta is capable of that. Even if he is illiterate, he is capable of that. Ah. Sriyan Dravyamayadhyajna Jnana Yajna Parantapa Sarvam Karmakhilam Partha Jnane Parisamapyate. Sarvam Karmakhilam Partha Jnane Parisamapyate. That means all duties, all works, karmas, yajnas and all that, whatever, Jnana Yajna is the highest anyway. So eventually, even the most illiterate person will be bestowed with pure jnana by Krishna. Sarvam karma akhilam partha jnane parisamapyate. It will end in jnana. Which means you don't have to do PhD, you don't have to study. If you live by the rules, if you live by the instructions given by Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita and be a devotee of Krishna, then eventually jnana will dawn on you and the most illiterate person will turn out to be the most knowledgeable person. So this is to be understood. So these are blatant contradictions. And of course there are many rascals who are busy indulging in Veda bashing, Vedas bashing, Krishna bashing. Means constantly finding something to criticize. I won't name this rascal. His surname is Sankrityayana. Anyway, I'll name him Rahul Sankrityayana. Like this, there are many idiots who have no knowledge of Sanskrit. They are busy distorting. And it's a shame that this fellow was born a Hindu and is busy distorting and indulging in Veda bashing, Krishna bashing, denigrating Hinduism. So, these fellows do selective reading and they don't know Sanskrit. See, Dvishat Sahasra, he misinterpreted to mean 2000 when it actually means 200,000. Dvishat Sahasra. So there are so many things, this itself shows his competence in Sanskrit or lack of competence. Dr. Ambedkar had the humility to admit that he didn't know Sanskrit and therefore he depended on rascals like, of course, he realized perhaps later that this fellow is a rascal, Max Muller and Griffith and so many other, that William Jones. All these fellows had a simple agenda to distort Vedas and ensure that Hindus develop a self-loathing and then they will start imitating. Therefore they can create a being who is Indian in look but thinks like an Englishman. So this was the conspiracy. So finally we produced lot of Macaulay Putras. These rascals, they are the brown sepoys. They are still the intellectual sepoys of the British Queen Victoria. Who's that fellow? Ram Mohan Rai. He is a rogue. He is not a Raja. The title was conferred by Queen Victoria because of his slavish obedience of Queen Victoria. This rogue Ram Mohan Rai, rascal Ram Mohan Rai, is not a Raja. That's a title given by Queen Victoria. He wrote long letters to Queen Victoria saying that only Christianity can save India, Hinduism can never be reformed, and therefore the whole Hindustan, India should be Christianized. And he wrote he exaggerated all about Sati. Now Sati was a phenomena in Rajasthan because Muslims, invaders had this obsession for necrophilia. That means they were having sex with dead bodies of women. So this is, I don't want to get more into details because this is sanctioned by their scriptures and their holy men. In Egypt, can you imagine? There is a law in Egypt. A man can have sex with the dead body of his wife 6 hours after her death. Beyond 6 hours, I think he will be punished. So having sex with a dead body is considered normal. It is allowed. Therefore, women in Rajasthan, they committed jauhar. They jumped into the flames because they didn't want these rascals to touch even their dead bodies. So where is the question of jauhar in Bengal? This rascal wrote nonsense. Rascal means a person who doesn't have values. It's not an abusive term. Person simply who doesn't have any values is called a rascal or a scoundrel. So this scoundrel wrote lengthy letters and cooked up statistics. And Queen Victoria forwarded his letters to Macaulay. Macaulay had an epiphany. He realized, this is he had an epiphany. He realized, yes, this will be the master stroke. So let us bring in some laws and, defame Hinduism and say that, they are indulging in all these. So that is how Bentinck came, and then they abolished Sati and claimed great credit for reforming Hinduism. And this fellow was called Raja. His tomb is there in Bristol. Bristol is a city some 200 kilometers away from London. If he is a Hindu, he should have been cremated. He is a closet Christian. closet Christian, and Nehru was obsessed with this man. So you can understand it's a big conspiracy. Anyway, that is the first esoterica in the second track. Next. So anyway, continuing that, all allegations of meat and beef eating in Vedas, Vedic texts or Manusmriti are all prakshipta interpolations, merely desperate attempts of perverted sick minds to project their own voices on the most noble texts of the world. Just imagine how it's a huge conspiracy. Next esoterica. Krishna says, Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkhaha. Yoga will destroy all sorrow. When you are regulated, Yuktahara viharasya. Yukta means regulated. So mitahara, yuktahara, regulated eating. Your stomach capacity 50% should be solid, 25% should be liquid, which means buttermilk and all that, and 25% leave it free for gases. Don't eat till your neck. Don't be a gustatory sinner, don't be a dietetic sinner. Okay, next esoterica, shadrasa. Shadrasa means 6 tastes. Madhura, sweet. Amla, sour. Lavana, salty. Katu, astringent, pungent, biting and all that. Katu. In fact, bitter actually. Okay, no, katu is pungent, sharp. Tikta is bitter. Kashaya, stringent. So, madhura, amla, lavana, katu, tikta, kashaya, stringent. So again, sweet you can understand. Sour also you understand. Pungent, onions, green chili, garlic, pungent. Astringent, pomegranate, coriander leaf. Bitter, ginger and karela. Salty you understand. Okay. Next esoterica is rasa, according to Bharata. Bharata, the son of Dushyanta and Shakuntala, who was the first emperor of India, and that is why this is Bharat, and we are all Bharatiyas, Bharatiyas. So, so let us see. Let us look at the rasa theory of Bharata. Now, the rasa theory, I'll just briefly read out. You see. According to rasa means juice, essence, taste, delight, joy. Krishna is described as Raso Vaisaha by the Taittiriya Upanishad. That means he is joy personified, bliss personified. So Shrungara, let us look at Shrungara. Vipralambha, Ayoga, Viprayoga, Karuna. So there are so many here. Shrungara, Sambhoga and all that. And then Shoka, Raudra, Veera. Under each one again there are subdivisions. Hasya is comedy. Bhayanaka, Bhivatsa. Bhivatsa. Kshobana, Udvega, and all that. Adbhuta, sense of wonder. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 rasas according to Bharata. This is a topic we can explore separately. Ashta rasa. In fact, Navarasas are there. In fact, many more. Bhakti, Vatsalya rasa, so many other rasas have been added. The main operative phrase is Raso Vaisaha. Krishna is rasa personified. Taittiriya Upanishad Veda. Next. Now this is a story about Indrajit, Meghanath, who was killed by Lakshmana. His right hand fell near Sati Sulochana. Sulochana was the wife of Indrajit, Meghanath. And she said, if it is my husband's arm, then prove it by signing it. So the arm signed, put his signature. Then Sulochana understood, yes, my husband has died. Just imagine this miracle. And so she decided, I will become Sati. See, this is in the Puranas and all that. They were anyway, their bodies were not physical bodies. Anyway. But the dead body of her husband was lying in Ramdal, in the battlefield, and it was in possession of the Vanaras. Then how could she be Sati? Then I believe she went and asked Ravana, please get my husband's body. And she told Ravana her intention. Ravana replied, oh goddess, you see, Ravana was a great jnani. He had only one weakness. In fact, he had many weaknesses. Why don't you yourself go to the Ramdal and get the body of your husband? Don't be afraid, because you are going into a group of people whose leader is Hanumanji, who is a Bal Brahmachari, and Param Jitendriya Sri Lakshmana, and Ekapatni Vrata Sri Rama. They are all there. See, Bal Brahmachari Hanuman, Param Jitendriya Sri Lakshmana, Ekapatni Vrata Rama. You don't have to fear. I am sure you will come back, you will not be disappointed by these great men. And when Ravana was saying this, some ministers of Ravana who were along with him, they said, how far is it appropriate for your daughter-in-law to go to Ashokavatika? Huh? To go to the, and especially, why should you allow daughter-in-law, your daughter-in-law? Will she be able to return safely? I believe Ravana said, what kind of ministers are you, man? Your buddhi has got defunct. बुद्धि भ्रष्ट అయిపోయింది మీకు భ్రష్ట్ हो गया तुम्हारा. It seems your intellect has been destroyed. Hey, it is the work of Ravana to keep another man's woman. It is the job of Ravana to steal other people's wives and keep them as captive in his house. Not Rama. Rama will not do that. That's my job. So Sri Rama is so divine. Even the enemies don't tire of praising him. So, well, this is nonsense. Let her go. And she went and brought the body. So, in this case, you can see Ravana praising Rama. Ravana, what is the term? Bala Brahmachari, Hanuman, Jitendriya, Parama Jitendriya, Sri Lakshmana, Parama Jitendriya, conquered, Parama Jitendriya. And Ekapatni Vrata Rama, what is there to fear? I do all this nonsense, not Rama, and the Rama's team won't do that. Next, Esoterica, my own comment long back on Twitter, I mentioned that if any human being subscribes to these desert cults, then the possibility is that one, he is a gullible ignoramus who has not read those wretched books. Two, he is a barefaced hypocrite. Barefaced means shameless, with annoyingly fallacious defenses. Three, he could be an insidiously treacherous fanatic masquerading as a normal human. Okay. Next, reflexivity is the term. Reflexivity is looking back on oneself, knowing one's temperament, motive, reaction, and how these things influence how we think. That is reflexivity. Reflexivity. मैं ऐसा क्यों हूँ? Reflectivity versus reflexivity. Reflective practice is where a person reflects on what they have learned, how they can apply it. Reflexive practice is where a person reflects on what they have learned and considers how the implications of their learnings can impact the broader context they work in. Reflexive learning, explore your experiences. Reflexive learning means we must explore our experiences and then learn. That is reflexive learning. Exploring our experiences, accept criticism and feedback, think independently and produce tangible ideas which can be useful. So, reflexive view of yourself, reflexive view develops in interaction with others through a process that includes your ability to accept feedback. It's a beneficial process. Johari window is a useful tool. Reflexive process, reflexive learning. Explore your own experiences to acquire reflexive learning. Seek others' feedback also. Next trivia. Dr. Ambedkar said, the day when a tribal woman becomes the president of India, the reservation in the country should be abolished. But now Draupadi Murmu is the president. I think reservation should be abolished if you seriously follow Dr. Ambedkar. Because Dr. Ambedkar's famous quote is, the day when a tribal woman becomes the president of India, reservation in the country should be abolished. My God. Hey Ram. Wonderful. The next is Esoterica. Every physical entity has a certain frequency. If you touch it or hit it, it will shake at its own frequency. Everything in this world is actually a vibration, isn't it? String theory, super string theory. Therefore, every physical entity has a certain frequency, and if you hit it or touch it, it will shake at its own frequency. Therefore, be careful what you touch and what you see. Everything, every morning you should see a conch shell, Gaumata, Shankam, Rudraksha, and images of Krishna Rama, Shivalingam, and a swan. So you must keep small figurines of these things. What you see, what you hear, what you listen, what you touch, what you eat. All this is called ahara. Okay. Next. Gandhi created one term, rice Christian. Rice Christian, convert to Christianity who accepts baptism not because of any personal conviction but out of a desire for food, medical services, and other benefits. So Gandhi ji either created it or maybe he popularized it anyway. Rice Christians, rice bags. Next, Esoterica. Guru Golwalkar ji, the second Sarsanga Chalak, a great scholar of RSS, he said, RSS कुछ नहीं करता, RSS कुछ नहीं करता, स्वयं सेवक कुछ नहीं छोड़ता. RSS कुछ नहीं करता, स्वयं सेवक कुछ नहीं छोड़ता. సాధ్యం కాదు అనుకుంటే ఏ పని చేత కాదు. సాధ్యం కాదు అనుకుంటే ఏమి చేయము, చేయలేము. ప్రయత్నించి చూసామనుకో పోయేదేముంది. గెలిస్తే సంతోషం, ఓడితే అనుభవం. సాధ్యం కానిది ఏది సాధ్యం కాదనుకుంటే ఇంకేమీ చేయలేవు జీవితంలో, ఏ పని చేత కాదు. ప్రయత్నించి చూడు, పోయేదేముంది. గెలిస్తే సంతోషం వస్తుంది, ఓడితే అనుభవం వస్తుంది రా నాయనా. ఎక్స్పెరిమెంట్ చేయి, కీప్ ఎన్ ఓపెన్ మైండ్, బీ ఓపెన్ టు సజెషన్స్, కీప్ చేంజింగ్. చేంజ్ అశ్వత్థ వృక్షం, లైఫ్ ఈజ్ ఎన్ అశ్వత్థ, కాన్స్టెంట్లీ చేంజింగ్. నెక్స్ట్, ఈ లోకంలో తప్పుడు పనులు చేసి పాడైపోయిన వాళ్ళకన్నా చెప్పుడు మాటలు వింటూ చెడిపోయిన వాళ్ళు ఎక్కువ. తప్పుడు పనులు చేసి పాడైపోయిన వాళ్ళు కంటే చెప్పుడు మాటలు వింటూ చెడిపోయిన వాళ్ళు ఎక్కువ మంది ఉన్నారు. జాగ్రత్త. అందుకని ప్రతి ఒక్కడి, అందుకే కృష్ణుడు భగవద్గీతలో ఏమంటాడు, 253 సెకండ్ చాప్టర్ 53లో, శృతి విప్రతిపన్నాతే యదా స్థాస్యతి నిశ్చల సమాధావచల బుద్ధిస్తదా యోగమవాప్స్యసి. When your intelligence ceases to be allured, carried away by what you hear, then you will remain steadfast. That means lot of yajnas, and so many people will tell you ఇది చేస్తే అది వస్తుంది, అది చేస్తే ఇది వస్తుంది. ఇవన్నీ వేస్ట్ రా బాబు. జ్ఞానయోగం ఇంపార్టెంట్. అందుకని so as you progress on Krishna consciousness, you will find that all these rituals are unnecessary, cumbersome, time consuming. So be yoked with Krishna and become a Krishna Bhakta and a Karma Yogi. Sarva Dharman Parityajya, become a Prapanna. And all these things leave it to others. They are in the LKG of religion. In this context, Madhavendra Puri, in 14th Shatabdi, he said, ఆయన ఏమన్నాడంటే కృష్ణ భక్తిలో నిమగ్నమైనాడు అనమాట. ఆయన అంటున్నది, సంధ్యావందన భద్రమస్తు భవతే భో స్నానతుభ్యం నమః భో దేవాః పితరశ్చ తర్పణ విధౌ సహం క్షమః క్షమ్యతాం యత్ర క్వాపి నిషద్య యాదవకులోత్ తాస్య కంసద్విష స్మారం మఘం హారామి తదలం మన్యే కిమన్యేనమే. ఏమంటున్నాడు ఆయన, అన్ని వైదిక ఆచారాల్ని క్షమార్పణ అర్పిస్తున్నాను, నా క్షమార్పణ అర్పిస్తున్నాను. ఎందుకంటే వాటిని పాటించడానికి నా వద్ద టైం లేదు. కాబట్టి ఓ కృష్ణ, ఈ సంధ్యావందనము, ఉపనయనము, యజ్ఞోపవీతము పొందినవారు రోజు 3 సార్లు చేస్తున్నారు కదా, ఇవన్నీ నేను చేయలేకపోతున్నా. పుణ్యస్నానాలు, యజ్ఞ యాగాదులు, పితృకర్మలు, దయచేసి నన్ను క్షమించండి బాబు. ఇప్పుడు నేను ఎక్కడ కూర్చున్నా కంస విరోధి అయిన శ్రీకృష్ణ పరమాత్ముడినే ధ్యానిస్తున్నాను. కాబట్టి ఇది చాలు నన్ను ఈ భౌతిక బంధాల నుండి విడిపించడానికి. ఆహా, అందుకే శ్రీకృష్ణుడు సమాధావచల అన్న పదాన్ని వాడాడు. చూసావా, సమాధావచల బుద్ధి. భగవంతుని ధ్యానంలో ఉండే దృఢ సంకల్పాన్ని సూచించడానికి ఈ శ్లోకంలో సమాధి అని పదం, సమత్వం మరియు ధి అంటే బుద్ధి అన్న మూల ధాతువుల నుండి ఏర్పడింది. అంటే పరిపూర్ణ సమత్వ బుద్ధి స్థితి, ఉన్నతమైన చైతన్యంలో స్థిర బుద్ధి కలిగి ప్రాపంచిక భౌతిక ప్రలోభాల పట్ల మోహితుడు కానివాడు ఆ యొక్క సమాధి అంటే సంపూర్ణ యోగ స్థితిని పొందుతాడు. అందుకని వాడికి టైం లేదనమాట. ఎంత చక్కగా చెప్పాడండి. అండ్ కృష్ణ 252 ఆల్సో, యదాతే మోహ కలిలం బుద్ధిర్ వ్యతితరిష్యతి తదా గంతాసి నిర్వేదం శ్రోతవ్యస్య శ్రుతస్య చ. Yada, when te, your moha, delusion, kalilam, quagmire, morass, ubi, daldal, buddhi, intellect, vyatitarishyati, crosses, tada, then gantasi, you will acquire, nirvedam, indifference, shrotavyasya, to what is yet to be heard, shrutasya cha, to what has already been heard. So yadate moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. సింపుల్గా చెప్పాలంటే నువ్వు ఈ జ్ఞానం నీకు వచ్చిన తర్వాత ఈ ఊబి నుంచి బయటపడి విన్నవి వినబోయేవి ఇవి ఏవి నిన్ను ఇంకా బాధించవు అనమాట. యూ విల్ బీ ఇండిఫరెంట్ టు వాట్ హ్యాస్ బీన్ హర్డ్ అండ్ వాట్ ఈస్ యెట్ టు బీ హర్డ్. So there are so many rituals, Brahmins and pujaris will tell you flowery words of the moha kalilam. Krishna 242 yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadantya vipaschitah vedavadarataah partha nanyadasti iti vadana. ఇంతకంటే ఇంకేం లేదు ఇక్కడ. పుష్పితాం వాచం, ఫ్లవరీ వర్డ్స్. యామిమాం 240-243 యామిమాం పుష్పితాం వాచం ప్రవదంత్య విపశ్చితః వేదవాదరతాః పార్థ నాణ్యదస్తి వాదన కామాత్మాన స్వర్గపరా జన్మ కర్మ ఫలప్రదాం క్రియా విశేష బహుళాం భోగైశ్వర్య గతిం ప్రతి. Those with limited understanding get attracted to the flowery words of the Vedas. Even in the Vedas, there are lots of yajnas, very, very ostentatious, which will promise that you will get this pleasure, that pleasure. They only glorify those karmakanda to please the senses and perform all these pompous rituals. So, these things you should get over. Krishna is saying, please rise above that also, because Veda contains everything. So 252 yadate moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. When your buddhi has come out of this mire of delusion, you will acquire indifference to what has been heard and what is yet to be heard. So people listen to all nonsense that you should do this, you should do that, you should go to a dargah, all this nonsense. It doesn't bother me anymore because I am sunk, totally immersed in Bhagavad Gita. 253 shruti vipratipannate yada sthasyati nischala samadhavachara buddhis tada yogamavapsyasi. When your intelligence ceases to be attracted by these, all these karmakanda, yajnas and all that, and when you are steadfast in Krishna consciousness, you will attain the perfect state of yoga. That is why Madhavendrapuri, he was a Vedic Brahmin. He used to engage in a lot of rituals, but when he took sannyasa and then he was totally devoted to Krishna, then he wrote Sandhya Vandana Vadramastu Bhavate Bho Snana Tubhyam Namah Bho Deva. Just now I read out, na? Bho Devaah Pitarascha Tarpana Vidhau Saham Kshamak Kshamatvam Yatra Kwapi Vishadya Yadava Kulot Tasya Kamsadvishaha Smaram Agham Harami Tadalam Manye Kimanye Name. So what is he saying? He is actually giving apologies. Madhavendra Puri is saying something very significant. Please listen carefully. Remember, as we are sadhakas, mumukshus, as we keep advancing on the spiritual path, our relationship with Krishna becomes so strong that we find all these rituals as cumbersome and time consuming. And sometimes we may feel guilty that we are not able to keep up with the rituals. I have totally rejected them. I am not interested because I am totally immersed in Krishna Bhakti, Krishna consciousness. You see, what is that nice Subhashita? Shatam vihaya bhoktavyam. Give up 100, eat food. Sahasram snanamacharet. Give up, give up or delay. 1,000, but take a bath. Laksham vihaya datavyam. Keep aside 1 lakh things to be done, duties, but do some charity. And kotim tyaktva harim bhajet. Keep aside 1 crore of things to be done, duty, checklist, but and chant Krishna Nama. Totally devoted. Kotim tyaktva harim bhajet. So live in Krishna. While you go to the gym, work out with Mahamantra. If you take the stairs, work out with Mahamantra. Chant Hare Krishna. Your in breath should be Hare Ram. Out breath is Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Every time you breathe in, it should be like that. So Soham, Ham Soham, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna. Chalo. So that is what he said. He is saying, I wish to apologize to all these rituals. He is now apologizing to the rituals themselves. As I have no time to respect you. So all this Sandhya Vandanam, 3 times daily, holy bath, sacrifice to yajnas. Don't use the word sacrifice. Yajna to devas, offerings to ancestors. Pitru, please excuse me. Now wherever I sit, I remember of Krishna, who is the destroyer of Kamsa, and that is sufficient to release me from this material bondage. So Sri Krishna therefore is sufficient. Just chant Krishna, be engaged, be anchored in Krishna, and all these things become unnecessary. What a wonderful thing, isn't it?